So you're curious about selling books on eBay. Well, in this video, I want to take you through a whole bunch of different things. And I've actually sold quite a lot of books on eBay. Actually, at the time of this video, this is how much I've actually sold. And this is the profit and this is the revenue that I've done. So I have been doing it for a while. And this is ranging anything from small paperbacks up to big bundles, hardcovers, vintage books, everything in between. And I do love books. And today I want to take you through 3 areas, predominantly being sourcing, listing, and posting when it comes to books on eBay. Now, when it comes to sourcing books on eBay, I believe, in my opinion, that this is one of the easiest categories to get yourself dabbling in as soon as possible, simply because they're everywhere. Like, I source from op shops and thrift shops, and essentially usually the prices here will range between 50 cents to $3 on average, but if they're anything more than that, unless there's something which is a bolo, which is meaning something that's going to sell really, really high, and you're going to be able to get it for $5, $10, $15, then I wouldn't really be looking at it. I want to be buying books at around 50 cents to maximum $3 if I'm making them up into bundles. However, you can pick up books such as $3 for a Lord of the Rings book, and you can flip it for a quick $30 if you wanted to. Now, when it comes to garage sales, usually this is where you're going to get a bargain. The more you buy, usually the better off it's going to be. These books are usually around $1, but if you can buy a whole bulk of them, usually you're going to get them cheaper than $1. And of course, if you're selling a book at 20 cents in and you're selling it for $20 or $30 or $40, it's good profits. Number 3 is deceased estates. And these are similar to the garage sales. Sometimes you can get these for free because people just need stuff gone. Other times, usually once again, if you're buying in bulk, you can usually get them for cheaper than $1 a pop. Bulk lots, very similar to the 2 above. Actually, it's probably usually even better. If people are wanting to get rid of a lot of books, sometimes people are trying to get their money back, so they will sell them for $1 a book or $2 a book. But most people, when they're trying to clear out, they're selling tubs or boxes of books, and I'm talking at like $10 a box. So you're probably going to get them at 30 cents or even less than that. And that's really where the big money is to be made. And then the final one is your network. People that are just trying to get rid of stuff. Whether it's people moving from next door, whether it's your friends and they're just trying to get rid of some stuff, or people just are overwhelmed in that situation. That's when you can usually get free books, and if you can get free books, well, there's no cost and it's just pure profits. So what are the books I'm actually looking for? Now this will change and this will come with an experience, and for me it's going to be different from what maybe someone else that sells books is selling, because we all have different categories, we all have different things that we know and love and are curious about. And as you do more of this, you'll get comfortable and you'll be able to find your own kind of little niche of books that you want to sell. But for me, if I was going out there fresh and you needed some advice, this is what I would suggest. Look out for sets that you already know will sell, meaning stuff that you've read, stuff that people in your family read, things that they're always talking about. This could be pop culture, this could be sets of books that you've got sitting up on the wall, or your grandparents do, or your family does. Those are the things that you know. So always start with what you know, because you already know it's going to sell. Otherwise, the quickest way to do this is when you're in the thrift shops, this is usually thrift shops I'm talking about, is you can actually scour the bookshelves and you can find the patterns of sets. Books that are in sets, books that have been come in and people have dumped off their entire collections. Those are the ones you want to look at. Find them, see what the price is, look them up on eBay using, completed sales, and see what you can get for them. Now, if it works out, you can pay $10 for 10 books and you can sell them for $60. Ta-da, it's worth it. The big winner categories for me is this: sci-fi, fantasy, crime, and thriller, and these will vary between different types of authors. Sometimes it could be a mix and match of some of these. Crime and thriller, sometimes landing into the horror side as well, but those are the big ones. Then I look out for novel sets or collections: Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, all the big ticket items in terms of pop culture. They're usually going to be flying out the door pretty quick, but once again, you have to get them at the right price, as we discussed about before. When it comes to kids books, I'm usually looking out for collections, usually out sets. So if there's collections of books that have 12 in a series, you want to sell the whole 12 before you can actually make that money. If you're selling one book, you're probably only going to get $6 to $7 for it, so it's not really going to be worth your time. But as soon as you have that entire collection, it starts to sometimes 10x the value. Not always 10x, but what I'm saying is it will actually make the value of it so much more acceptable for people to pay up to purchase the whole set. Other books that I look out for are from 90s and 80s. These are novels or things just from the past because people are curious about them. People want to relive their childhood or collect them. And they won't sell all the time very quickly, but usually if you're getting them as a set or as a collection or part of a collection to complete someone's collection, it's a lot of collections. That's the type of stuff you want to be looking for. Now, as you gain some confidence, as you do more research, which you have to do, you need to do your homework, other areas that you might consider selling are cooking books, information books such as history books or things around the war, or things such that are informative, especially from the 80s and 90s. Very cool ways that they used to illustrate and share information. Sometimes some of the ones that you would have purchased on the infomercials on TV, you know, pay in the next 10 minutes and get your free 12 knife set and you get this, you know, 40 book collection. Those ones you can't get anywhere else. Those ones are also good to look at. Older books from the 1920s all the way up to the 1950s. Of course, anything before 1920s is still worth pretty good. And then there's also health and wellness books. Now, all these I don't usually dabble in a lot unless I'm getting them for free or really, really cheap because I just don't know them well enough. But it's a great way to learn. If you go somewhere and there's bulk boxes of books for sale and it's like cheap as chips, I'm talking like, you know, 10 cents a pop or a box for $10, do it. Take the investment and see what you can learn from it, because that's going to be a real cheap way to find out what's working, what's not, and you can do all the sold comps and find out if there is actually any money, and then you can look for them when you're out in the thrift. That's sourcing. Now, if you've got questions about this, of course, chuck it down in the comments and I'll do my best to help. But next is listing. Now, listing is obviously where the most important thing is. When you're sourcing, if the item is crap, if it's in really bad condition, if it's damaged, that's obviously going to hinder your ability to sell it. So you need to consider the quality before you even get to this stage. But let's assume you've got a big bundle of books, or you've got one book, or whatever your situation is. You've got books. You want to sell them, you want to list them, and this is how you do it. I always try and do this with a white backdrop just because it elevates, it really puts the focus of the book to the person wanting to purchase the book. In terms of photos, this is what you want to do. You want to get the front, you want to get the back, you want to get all sides, the top, the bottom, the side, and also the spine. So people can see clearly if there is any damage, clearly what the condition is. You also want to take at least one picture of the publishing page. If you've got multiple books, you might just take it of one, just to give them an idea of what era these are from. Any damage, any notable issues, or anything notable that you want to call out, whether it's a signature or writing or text, or an error, or water damage, or anything else that needs to be given attention, you want to at least have one picture of it just to give some idea of what they're expecting to see. I usually list my books, if they're in very good condition, I list them at good condition, because my photos are then going to tell you what the condition really is. And that way I can't get any prizes when it comes to item not as described, because I've already lowered the quality and the pictures are then speaking a bit more better volume. And of course, I've listed out any defects, as I mentioned before, any writing, any pen, any pencil, sticker marks, rips, edge wear, shelf life, water damage, anything like that. Anything that you think needs to be told to the buyer, unless it's clearly stated in the picture, like shown in the picture, I would still spell it out, because sometimes people, they just don't pay attention. The other thing here is, when it comes to listing, is know your margins. What are you pricing the items at? Is it with postage or postage paid? Meaning, are you paying for postage or is the buyer paying for postage? Now, when I'm trying to sell books, I'm usually looking for a 60% margin, because that's what I want from the books. And usually I can get them so cheap that that's quite easy to do. But sometimes when it comes to the bundles, maybe there's a less of a margin. So you want to push for them to be paying for postage. Of course, there is multiple ways to do this. There's no right or wrong, but just be mindful of your margins. The next thing I want to talk about is posting the books. So you've now purchased the books, you've now listed the books. How are you posting the books? And of course, you should let people know how you're posting the books when you come to your listings as well. Now, for me, when it comes to posting books, there is three options. You've got boxes, satchels, and padded mailers. I use predominantly all of these. I use the boxes for when it's older or higher value items, or if they're bundles of books, because you can't fit them in padded mailers, usually. If the book is below $40, and if it is a hardcover, well then I will either bubble wrap it, or I will put it in a bubble mailer. Depending on what I have in stock, bubble mailers will actually save you a lot more time, because you don't have to bubble wrap them and you can just put them straight in. And the bubble mailers are actually usually a bit of a bigger sizing when it comes to if it packs its scent. So they will be bigger than a small satchel. The medium padded mailer will be bigger than the medium satchel, and vice versa for the large as well. So you need to work out what makes more sense, because if you are sending via satchel, you will need to bubble wrap it and then put it in. Do not send it without protection, without bubble wrap, because you will damage the corners. Things will bend, things will break, and just don't do it. But in terms of if it is coming between paperback and hardcover, if I'm sending paperbacks in a satchel or in a mailer, I would sometimes even put in some cardboard there just to make sure that it's not going to get bent, because these people actually dropping off your items can sometimes get a little rough and tough with them. And once again, you need to make the decision, does it make more sense, keeping in mind your quality you're trying to uphold, does it meet expectations of the buyer, but also how would you want to receive it? And are you retaining that quality? And what is the value of this item? You need to take that all into consideration of when you are actually posting the item. Of course, when I send it in a box, I always use bubble wrap too. Now, all this applies to bundles as well. Same mentality, you need to figure out what works best, but most of the time you will find it will be boxes. And when it comes to smaller paperbacks, such as, you know, a Goosebumps or just a small little book, a kid's book usually, these are the ones that I would put in potentially in a padded envelope, like a small padded envelope that would fit like a DVD size, or I would put it in a medium tracked envelope. Once again, this is stated in the listing for people to understand. And if they don't like it, well, they can purchase something else, or they can ask for a box or something else. But once again, it really goes without saying that send things to people how you would want to receive them. And I think that covers it. Like there's a lot to take in here. I suggest you go back, find what makes more sense. You can use the timestamps down below and figure it out. And of course, if you've got questions about this, let me know. I mean, I'm no expert. There's plenty of other people that are just selling books. I sell a lot of different things, but I've sold a lot of books over my period of selling on eBay for more than a year now. And I love selling the books because it's quick and easy. However, they have to sit around. You have to store them. You have to keep them safe and out of weather and all that jazz. So it does take up a lot of space. So these are all things to consider. But I think if you can get some big deals, or if you can purchase a big box of books and get them really cheap at 30 cents a pop, and you're only paying $20, $30, it's a great way to invest and learn. You know, at the same time, you might not be out here to make big dollars from that box, but it's going to be a great way that you can learn. And of course, have a look and see what other people are selling. Have a look and see what is selling in the shops, what's trending at the moment. There's plenty of ways to do your research. You need to do the homework. I can tell you heaps of books, but it doesn't mean you're going to find them. You'll find other books which maybe are going to be of higher value. And I guarantee you, when it comes to selling the big ticket items, when it comes to books, like the higher value items, it's because I've done some research. I found something in the shop and I was curious about it. And sometimes I've gotten lucky with some of the bulk hauls and there's just been some bolo items, but a lot of the time you don't get to see what's in those boxes or bulk hauls. So things to consider. I really do appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you do hit like, and if you want to see some more videos, 3 videos a week, subscribe. Now, of course, if you've got any questions or any comments, chuck them down into the comments below. More than happy to continue the conversation. I want to help you. We're in this together. I'll do my best. I hope this has helped you. And of course, yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, do the whole shebang, and hustle. Ciao.